Good evening, everyone. Jet Holdings and I think a lot of Sri Lankan companies went through a lot of issues during the last 4 to 5 years, right? From Easter tax to COVID to economic downturn of the country. So during this time, we had to counterattack, or we had to sort of rethink and take a lot of different initiatives to stay uh, ahead of the competition and to be lean, to be reorganized, and to reinvent. So during this, there's a lot of strategic decisions that we as senior management has to take. And one part of this revolves a lot around a IT ERP system, because if you want to make all these decisions, the last thing that you want practically is to think whether the system can support you, right? So some initiatives that we took were, we expanded a lot overseas, right? When the Sri Lankan economy was not doing great, we expanded we expanded to Africa, we expanded to India, we started manufacturing in Bangladesh, we started a different vertical, right? A EV charger business in Saudi Arabia, right? Like that, we took a lot of different initiatives, not only in trading, but manufacturing and various different SBUs as well. So during this time, if we have to think whether the ERP system can support it, or whether the ERP system is flexible, whether we can implement it, I think that takes the edge off the senior management or the strategic thinking, because then we are more worried about the system. So one major advantage that JAT had was, we actually did not worry about the system, because we knew that the system could adapt, and it was, I mean, into certain extent, tailor-made solutions for us, and it supported it perfectly. So all we as a company have to think is, we want to expand, and we tell the Bileeta team, and the system is done accordingly. Of course, you need to brainstorm, we need to tell them what the exact requirements are. Especially overseas, there are different tax methods, there are different systems that you need to adapt. So all of this can be inculcated. So I think we are present now in about 6 countries with different sort of businesses. In all these 6 countries, Bileeta supports us with the Entution ERP system. The next one is, we needed to we didn't downsize as a company. That's something that we didn't do, because during this period, I know we didn't want to downsize. We didn't want to, as a Sri Lankan company, we didn't want to let go of any staff, right? Because in this time, if you let go of staff, they don't have anywhere else to go to. So what we want to do is, we wanted to restructure and rearrange the arrangements in chat, right? So some of the staff we had to sort of take to different units, do things different ways, right? And to use digitalization, right, in order to increase efficiencies, so that what I told you all earlier, that we expanded overseas, that the same staff who was doing business here, we reduced the number of those staff, and we took some staff, the same staff, and we sent them for certain overseas ventures. Now, when we do that, it's the same volume of work that a lesser amount of staff have to do in Sri Lanka. So during that time, I think digitalization, digital culture, digital leadership, these were the methods that we followed. Now again, if you do not have a strong ERP, if you do not have a ERP that has a 24/7 customer service, that does not have a presence in Sri Lanka, it's very difficult to do that, because some of these decisions we do, probably we take a decision and we implement it within a week, because that's how much agile we had to be. One example, I would say, when the entire country was on lockdown and we did not have a method to revenue generate, we came up with the sanitizers, right? Because there was one raw material that we used, IPA, for thinner in paint. That was the same raw material for the sanitizer. Now that got picked up through the ERP, right? And from that we started the formulas and everything, and we had to do a total product line, get it to the ERP within a period of 5 days where no one was working in office. So during that time, having a web-based ERP is also a great thing, because everyone was, no one gave a warning to say that, look, from today people have to work at home, right? So it was basically a lockdown. Everyone was forced to work at home, but we could adapt with the web-based ERP to everyone who worked on that. And we worked for 5 working days, and we came up with the entire project. We sent the goods to the market within a period of about 10 days, right? So that was our only revenue stream during the lockdown. The first probably 2 months or 1 month of lockdown was the sanitizer. So again, my point is, we as managers or CEOs or directors, right, we only need to think about the business, right? If that ERP, even if we sometimes forget that there's a ERP, that's a good sign. That means they support us seamlessly. So that's the partnership what Bileeta and Jet has, right? And another thing is that the local touch, right? Sometimes whatever said and done, if you have multinationals, if you have people who are based overseas, sometimes they don't feel that same need that we Sri Lankans had during that time. But Bileeta being stationed here and a Sri Lankan company, it synced. And when I told some of the senior Bileeta Bileeta staff that we need to do this quick, they feel that, right? And they also want to do things in order to safeguard the Sri Lankan company. So I think this sort of thing, some things that you all would not see in a ERP system, would not see in the people behind this ERP system, is something that I wanted to highlight. Right? So after that, Jet went on a digital transformation journey, and in this, data, right? A data-driven decision making is so important. When you want to sort of survive these periods, what most companies do is, we always say that human resource is our most valuable resource, right? But we first cut down. We what do? How many people are in your organization? Cut it down, right? Jack never did that. And what we did was, we also went for a data-driven decision-making thing, where now we sell paint from our factory to the warehouse, then we give it to the distributor to the dealer. These are the small hardwares that you all see, and from that the dealer sells it to the end customer. Now we wanted to see what is the offtake from the dealer outlets, right? So with that, what we did was, together with Dialog, we introduced a sort of a SMS system, where when someone buys one of our products or a Saleac can, you get a certain amount of points, which is monetized, right? So they send it back, and then we can track who has bought it from where. Now that was a separate system we did with Dialog. Now with that, we had to integrate this with our SFA, right? The SFA is a Salesforce automation to see in the retail outlets, what is your offtake like, right? And how much of stock there is in the retail outlets. Now these two were two different systems which we had, but the SFA, now we wanted to link it to Bileeta, right? So having a system, right? Having a system that can link with other systems also is a huge advantage. And that project is going on now, where our SFA is being linked to the Bileeta system, right? So that flexibility is needed, because sometimes certain ERPs are very rigid, right? The ERP companies, and what they say is, no, this system it's not compatible with our system. You have to use our system and develop this in that, because see, when that happens, sometimes there are different systems which have advantages. Now the SFA, we had to do a separate system, but that integration, Bileeta was flexible to do. So when that happens, again, you have a seamless decision making pattern. We have all the numbers, we have the records, and from that we can make it more efficient, right? So these are things I would say that when you all select a ERP or when you all select a ERP company, these are the things that you have to check, right? It's not only the cost of it, it's not only how many other clients use, right? You have to do that, because when you do that, that saved us a lot of energy in trying to have a lot of discussions with IT companies or ERP companies, and then we can focus, right? As a CEO, I have to focus on the business, right? My senior management team could focus on the business, and this was automatically carried out. So this is my message is, I think we all need a good ERP system, we all need to digitalize, we all need to also expand overseas, right? Sri Lanka is a 20 million population. Today we are in India and Bangladesh, where Bangladesh has about 180 million population, India 1.2 billion. So expand your horizons. And but when you do that, if you expand too fast without a proper system, the losses you can make is also equal to the 20 million into 1.2 billion or 200 billion. That same thing, right? Because the operations you need to scale up very fast. So be wise when you select a ERP system. Look at the other aspects, look at the people who are behind it, the team who is behind it, right? How they help when when the situation is bad, how do these companies sort of act, right? So these are some of the things that I would want to highlight today. And thank you very much for inviting me to speak here, and I wish Sanjay, Sankar and the Bileeta team all the very best for their future endeavors. Thank you.